So what will the party be looking for in the new leader, seeing as we have this general election coming up?
Right. And so they don't have much time. Like really not much time at all. And so I think what they need is somebody who is going to bring some energy to the party, someone who's going to boost morale, because it's been a long time since the party has been back in the polls and feeling like the next election is going to be really hard for them. They need somebody who's going to be able to give people a sense that this isn't a hopeless cause. But also, I mean, they need somebody who can launch a serious challenge to Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, because that is what Justin Trudeau, I think, really wanted to do. He wanted to go and have this fight with Pierre Poilievre. He wanted to go and have this contrasting vision, this contrasting narrative for the country, and put that fight up. And what I think the two see as good versus evil kind of thing, like it was shaping up to that kind of a race. And now that won't happen between these two people. And I think the Liberals really need somebody who can perhaps take down some of the lead that Pierre Poilievre has. Even if they don't win, they need somebody who will be more competitive, somebody who will give candidates, the party, a reason to be enthusiastic, a reason to be energetic on the campaign trail.
Regardless of who leads the Liberal Party around the world, we're seeing a lot of change elections mainly because of cost of living. Do you think that's going to play out in Canada as well?
Yes, definitely. I think one of the things that has been really difficult for Justin Trudeau and the Liberals to get through is the sense that from many voters' perspectives, they haven't been responsive to that cost of living crisis. By the time anyone had heard anything from this government with respect to how painful the affordability crisis is, I think for a lot of people it was too late. The Liberals weren't as responsive to that as they should have been early on, frankly, and then they kind of ceded that ground to the Conservatives. And so I think, there's a space where a new leader could try to get hold of some of that change momentum. If the new leader is seen as a departure from the old government, there could be a way for the Liberals. I don't think they're going to win the next election, but not to be so far behind. But I think that would require a very deliberate going at this head on, right? Like taking on that piece around the affordability crisis at the same time as talking about the importance of fiscal responsibility and balancing the budget. We are running a serious deficit in Canada. The amount that is spent on deficit spending, like deficit management every year, is becoming quite significant and backbreaking, honestly. And from an economic perspective, it's becoming very problematic. And so I think a lot of people would want to see somebody who's prepared to take that on as well and get that right and get that sorted out.
So is Canada moving to a more Trump and more right-wing direction?
Some people are, I think. There's a sense that, the Conservatives now, I think some people would look at that and say this is much more right-wing than the Conservatives were before. There is definitely a movement toward what some people would call populism. There is a suspicion of government. There is more of a sense that people, I think a big part of the message of the current Conservatives is freedom, give people more space, more ways to control their own money, more ways to control their own lives. That seems to be the message of the current Conservative leader. And I would say that's probably more right-wing than we have seen previous progressive Conservative leaders, for example. Is the whole country moving in that direction? No, I wouldn't say so. I think we have a polarization issue in Canada, the same as many other countries do.
Thank you so much for your time. Laurie Turnbull from Dalhousie University in Canada.